Good evening. Welcome. My name is Kwabena. I want to share with you what I call the importance of knowledge. The importance of knowledge. Humans, people, countries, continents only reflect what they know. I only reflect, my life reflects what I know. Your life reflects what you know. The country that we live in, whatever that we are doing, reflects what we know. So if we don't know much, we will not do much. If we don't know better, we will not do better. Human beings only reflect what they know. And so in that case, it's so much important to know, because without knowing, we can't do anything. The knowledge that we know is what our life expresses. And so you see, the culture that we live in, they only reflect what we know. In spite of what may have happened to us, in spite of the disadvantages of our history, we still are reflecting what we know. So I want to share with you briefly what I call the importance of knowledge. Until some things are clearly explained and broken down to us, our understanding as to how those things are applied will not be properly done for our benefit. Okay, so we live in a country where we seem to have mastered the explanation of things, not the doing of things. And even that, we explain things just with the measure of knowledge that we know. And so people can master things that are not really beneficial to the situation that they are in. And so you see that I can talk to you about money. Okay, so I want to discuss money with you, and then I'll talk about, oh, you see the CD, the picture on it is this person who was this. This CD was printed in maybe 2014. The governor was this. I'm giving you some kind of knowledge, but that kind of knowledge is irrelevant to solve your financial situation, even though it's an information on money. But if I share with you practical approach as to how you can solve your financial difficulties, what to do to solve your financial difficulties, even though I'm giving you two knowledge. One, I'm just explaining philosophically what some things are about, and the other one, I'm giving you practical approach which will be beneficial to you solving your financial difficulties. It seems to me that what is important, the knowledge that is important, is the knowledge that helps us to solve the problems that are pertinent to us, the problems that we are going through. And so if you're going to look for any knowledge, it should be the knowledge that is helping you to live above the difficulties that we have. But so far, we have mastered the knowledge that is just philosophical, that just explain things. So the knowledge, for instance, if you talk about entrepreneurship, some people can philosophically give you all the important things and the history of entrepreneurship and everything that they know. I know you can go to the university, they teach you about entrepreneurship. You can even get MBA entrepreneurship. They explain everything to you. That is just philosophical knowledge. That is something that is good. It helps you to think. It helps you to ask some questions. But you would want to probably own a business. And so how do you get that knowledge that will help you to build a business? So far, I think that the knowledge that comes from the practice is what is important for us to build the business that we want to build. And so you don't want to master the knowledge that only explains philosophically, because you can. There are some things that philosophical explanation of things will help. For instance, what is your understanding of yourself? What is your understanding of life? What is understanding of God? What is understanding of the country you live in? Those are general understanding that if you don't have them rightly, you try to explain a lot of things against yourself. So I am an African. We seem to have a lot of questions on our identity. We seem to ask a lot of questions about the difficulties that Africa goes through. It's almost on every African's mind as to why do we go through the things we go through. Now, you may not have practical explanation as to what is about Africa. We need philosophers, thinkers, who will be able to explain our situations to us. They may not necessarily have to have a solution as to the African challenges per se. Because the confusion of the African, for instance, is coming from the little or the complex things that have not been explained to us rightly. And so some people think that, oh, the African is scarce, the African cannot handle his own issues. Somebody even called us something that ends. Now, this is just another form of knowledge. It's just weakness in thinking that, okay, I'm from here. So if I'm here and it's difficult, I think that I have to leave to another place. This is the knowledge that we gather from the culture that we were born into. Now, as to if we have had thinkers, people who have been able to explain these things that when we were children, these things were on our mind. We still ask a lot of questions about why Africa is poor. Why do we even watch TV and we all want to go to America, or we all want to go to England? Why do we watch TV and we yearn to do that? Because the philosophy that they broke down to us was weak. And so we see all these images, very nice things. We even thought that those places were even in heaven. So somebody has not explained our complexities to us. That kind of knowledge that somebody has to explain to us is probably as important as the knowledge that will help us to also build a business. Because if you're not able to explain the things in your environment, sometimes knowledge, philosophical knowledge, is just for the explanation. It's just for clarity of thinking. It's just for clarity of self. They build our self-identification. They build our pride. Philosophical knowledge. But if you don't have those things explained well to you, you will ask irrelevant questions all your life. And you meet a lot of Africans who have big portfolio, but who have not sat down or who have never had these things explained to them because somebody else did not take up the challenge to explain the complexities around our environment. And so you ask questions about what is the meaning of life, because today somebody is born, the next day you see another person dying, and people come up with all kinds of explanations. The quality of the knowledge that we have, the importance that we have placed on knowledge will help us to explain some of these things that happen to us every day. But if you did not go for knowledge and you let the society define, you go in life with the society's explanation of things, you will live trying to be controlled by the explanations that society has given us. And so you're not even sure of your own life mission, your own life purpose, because for you to have a certain understanding of what your life is meant to be, somebody probably gave you some kind of knowledge and you have not taken the challenge to even lift that knowledge to another level. And so you are 30 years, you are 40 years, you have all the degrees, but the critical issues of life as to who you are, who your life is meant to be, what do you think why are you being in this life? Why were you born? Have you ever sat down to, in terms of knowledge, really sat down to explain why you think you are here, and why do you even think that you are needed here? Those things may not be knowledge that will produce direct results in terms of a physical product or building a business or getting a position. But those kind of knowledge, until you're able to clarify those, other forms of knowledge may not be important to you. And so I am talking about importance of knowledge. And there are two things that I think are very much important. There's something that I would want to call philosophical knowledge. This is the kind of knowledge that explains things to you. They may not have direct correlation to getting results as to doing something, but they explain a lot of things that bother all of us as human beings. You know, so your life, you want to look at why were you born? Why do you see the difficulties that you see around your environment? How does the world operate? The knowledge that you even have on God, and who told you that knowledge? Is it that strong or is it weak knowledge? Who told you about, say, Africa and the history that they told us about it? Who told you? Who wrongly gave you information as to maybe the achievement of some countries? And then they told us that they only came to colonize us and enslave us. This kind of knowledge that they have told you, have you ever sat down to also look into them yourself? Or you just flow with the part? You just flow with what they told us? There's philosophical knowledge. If you are not able to clarify them well, other important practical knowledge will be difficult for us to get. And so you see that Africa's major problem is lack of clarity and lack of philosophical thinkers to break a lot of things to us. Why? Because we seem not to have placed a lot of importance on knowledge. We seem not to have placed a lot of importance on knowledge. And so far, even the people that we look up to who teach us about life, about God, about money, about business, about everything, seem to also not be, they seem not to be doing a good job because of the results that we have seen. The continuous, when we were children, they were telling us that we will prosper. But we're still around 30, 40 years, and we still look at our continent, we still look at our country, and there's so much that we still have to do. For me, I think that it's because we have not been able to separate a lot of the things philosophically. Countries, nations that have been built, you see that they had somewhere along the line, some people pop up, and they were philosophers, they were thinkers, they were people who could decipher the knowledge for the people. And the moment that you see that generation is coming up and they are separating the knowledge for the masses, you see that the people start to get clarity in thinking. And so you look at us, and we still have a lot of things very much confused. And once we continue to have a lot of things confused, it means that we are not going to get to the second phase of it, which is the practical knowledge to produce results. So the importance that we place on philosophical knowledge that explains things that may not have direct benefit in terms of product, but they explain how life is about, how the things that bother us every day that we don't even know where they are coming from, our understanding of what God is, our understanding of why we are here, those things. If you don't get a good teacher, we don't get people who have gone before us to explain those things to us, and if we ourselves don't even take the burden, if nobody is explaining them to us, if we don't take the burden ourselves to explain those things to us, then the most important things, the other form that are important, will not even get to us. And so you see that knowledge about ourselves, knowledge about our race, knowledge about our country, knowledge about the world, knowledge about our gift, knowledge about our conviction about God, they affect our inner peace and our self-esteem. And if we don't have them clearly defined and clearly separated, you see that they affect all our results. So you see Africans, the average African is not placing that much importance on this kind of knowledge. And so we keep repeating the same questions that they were asking us when we were children. We're still asking the same kind of questions. Why? Because we have not been able to have people who are able to clearly think through a lot of issues for the masses. The other day, I heard that somebody said that, Kwabena and Marie University of Ghana, Kwabena and Marie University, KNUST, has not been able to produce even solar. You see, this kind of statement, when we were children, they were saying that the university does not even produce car. The university does not produce anything. If you meet an engineer, he cannot even fix his own car. This is something that we have not clearly sat down to understand. How do you think that 4 years in a university that they gave you theory, which is what university is about, they teach you theory. The university is not a factory. The They give you the theory so that when you get out of the university and you go into industry, you can use the inspired mind to apply. Now, somebody prominent in the media is saying that, oh, the university cannot even produce solar. Do you see how ignorant some of these people are? University is not a factory. Which university in the world is producing, supplying the world solar? I have not heard it. Maybe it's there. I have not heard it. University is not. University inspires students so that they can pick an idea and go and develop it. Now, this is just one example. Can you understand a lot of the things that they explain to us that they have not even studied them? And so there's a much lack of clarity as to how the things that we confront, the things that confront us as Africans, how we explain them. And you can link a lot of them to the way we even use our time and the way we even look up to God for answers. So the kind of knowledge, the next one will be the kind of knowledge that brings results. Practical knowledge. If I've never built a business, I can only write about business from the books that I've read. If you want to build a business, you will not, that book that I write, which I have never done, will not be able to help you that much. I can explain how business is built and I can use data for you. But I will not be able to give you practical examples out of my own experience as to how it is done. And so you look around, you see a lot of the business books that we all read here. If you go through our street, you see the business books were written by who? 99% of the books that I see on the street, they were written by Americans. A lot of the religious books that we read are written by Americans. Now, most of those people, they can give you general examples. That's why you can read 1,001 of those books. You can read a lot of those books, but you will not be able to do much. Why? Because they are just giving us generic information. The practical one from the field that we are going through, you would have to talk to somebody who is here doing it. Because the one who is there doing it may have identified things that only apply here. And that is the difference between myself trying to encourage somebody to start a business, and I'm a corporate person sitting somewhere, and somebody else who is doing business himself, trying to give you data, facts as to where to step. If in that, when you start yourself, you also be able to identify your own form of inspiration or your own form of knowledge that applies to you. And so there is one thing where you have philosophical knowledge, which are good. They explain the things that are around us. And the clearer we are, the clearer we are as to how things are explained at our level, the better we'll be able to understand ourselves, the better we'll be able to understand our environment. Now, most people don't place any importance on these things at all. They don't. So you talk to a lot of people, we don't even link our results to knowledge. Most developing countries, largely in Africa, don't link our results to knowledge. We link our results to something else, but not knowledge. So when you meet the young guy who wants to build something with his life, who wants to go somewhere with his life, he's not placing much on the knowledge that he has to get to where he wants to go. Most people don't place that much importance on knowledge at all. It's not in our saying. It's not. I think the commonest that you probably hear will be pray, and God will do it. That's the best that I hear. Very few people, when you talk to them, you say that I want to do something with my life, and their first statement will be, go and educate yourself, go and find the right kind of knowledge in what you want to do. And then when you have been able to build the base of it, you'll have a better understanding as to what to do with your life. I will never encourage anybody who is not built the right knowledge, who is not placed much importance on knowledge, to go and do anything. I will not do that. And so whether it's a family that you want to build, the philosophical knowledge, you should be able to understand what is it, this thing that they call marriage, what is it? What data they have done on it. Get some understanding of it. The man, the woman who are going to marry, what is it? Do you know anything about it? What are the things that people go through in that? Because without that, Our lives only reflect our knowledge, what we know. What we know. If you don't know it, we will not be able to do it. It's just basic principles of life. And so when you live in an environment where not much is placed on knowledge acquisition, I'm not talking of certificate, I'm talking of knowledge that works. Knowledge acquisition, knowledge that helps you to separate the nonsense from the good ones, knowledge that helps you to separate the stupidity from the wisdom, the knowledge that helps you to get clear before you make the decisions that you want to make. That kind of knowledge, how much importance do you place on it? In our finances, same. What are the myth? You cannot break any myth on your finances if your philosophy is weak on finances. We will not even be productive and believe in growth and resource if our philosophy is weak. There is one form of knowledge, which is the philosophy, the separation, what people have thought through around it. And there is another form of it, which is the practical knowledge, which people have done. The people who have done it, what did they identify? And the one that you will find yourself when you are doing it, what have you identified? They're separate. They are all important, but they are separate. And so the kind of knowledge that comes from those who have done it is different from those who are just talking about it. And most people in a part of the world don't even have the right philosophical separation of knowledge. And then when it comes to the knowledge for the practice, the knowledge that comes from the practice of it is also not there. And so if you look around us, you see that our results prove something. Our results prove that there is a lot that we have not given importance to. And the first one is the knowledge, being able to separate a lot of things. So you go to any of our colleges, when it comes to philosophy, you see the people they quote. They never quote us. They quote all the things that they told them in the university, but not us. And the people that they quoted, that they said that they were philosophers, they extracted their philosophies from the community, the environment that they live in. Now, we want the people who live here to also extract, look at the nature, look at the environment, look at the way we do things, and extract the quality knowledge that will help us, to help our people to think clearly, to help our people to separate issues. But so far, that importance is not given to knowledge. That importance is not given to knowledge at all. So you see our results, they reflect. Whether my personal results or your personal results, whether our results as a country or even our results as a continent, they reflect what we know. And so we cannot change the results until we change what we know. And what we know is directly responsible for what we are getting as results. So what do you know about, say, risk taking? What do you know about risk taking? If you want to start anything with your life, what is your philosophy on risk taking? Are you that kind of person who thinks that I don't need to take any risk, just follow what is there, and yet you still believe that you'll be able to achieve anything with your life without risk taking? It is almost impossible until you are ready to go to the level that is not known, to the world that is not known, to the world that is not tested by any one of us, or by you especially. You will not be able to achieve much beyond what you know. Because anything that you want to achieve, whatever you want to build, it will take some amount of uncertainty. And that uncertainty is what people call risk. If you be sure 100%, then it doesn't worth taking the risk, because you will never know what will happen. And so your conviction, your knowledge on what it means, what do you mean by risk? What is your conviction of it? Philosophically, what is it? And those who have done it practically, what is it? What does it mean by risk? What do you call risk? And what do you think it will take for you to succeed in your endeavors? Whether you are building a business, you're building a career, whatever that you're building. What is it? What are the things? What is the strength of your knowledge? What is the strength of your philosophy? Or you don't just have any philosophy at all. What does it mean to succeed? What is success to you? What have you identified? What have you identified about success? Who are the people that you call successful? And what did they apply? our convictions, the strength of our convictions, the strength of our knowledge, the strength of our philosophy in this will decide the level of fight that we are ready to put in for us to succeed. You know, so when it comes to generation of ideas, it's the same. Generation of ideas. If you don't place much importance on knowledge, you will not be able to generate ideas. You will not be able to generate ideas. And people who place much importance on knowledge are in quest all the time to find them. Not only from the books, but from watching, from listening, from looking, from touching. They are always in quest for knowledge. But a lot of people, they just live like that. They just live. They are very much, they just live. A lot of people just live. They listen to the radio, they read a graphic, they go to church to pray, and that's it. And yet we are expecting premium performance, delivery. They will not happen because we don't place that much importance on knowledge. There is no resource which is not linked to knowledge. No way. As a matter of fact, there will never be change without new level of knowledge. New level without us. If your life is this stage, is maybe 20-meter height, your life is there. Everything that is happening in your life is like that. Maybe your business is this stage. That business is never going to improve until the knowledge that is operating that business is moved. And so that's how much critical knowledge is. And so when you see people who are stuck with traditions and this is how we do it, it's because they don't know the importance of knowledge. So there is an importance of tradition. Anything can change when there is much importance placed on knowledge, especially an upgrade knowledge. So my name is Kwabena. I am talking about the importance of knowledge, and I link it to business. Most often that is my example, but they apply to all aspects of life. And that if you meet somebody who has not done much, there are some people who can explain a lot of things in this life to our benefit. You meet one teacher who is able to tell you what life is about, what finance is about, what education is about, what building business is about. They even are able to tell us the complexities of our country, why we are underdeveloped. Those, if their knowledge that they are giving us is clear, is quality knowledge, they help us to understand our environment and even to understand ourselves. And for me, you will not do much in this life until you have better clarification of yourself, of your gift, of the things that you think you can do for this world. If you don't have a better philosophy as to what your country is about, what your country stands for, what has been put in this country, what is the benefit here, why do you have to be here, why do you think you were even born here? If you have not clarified those things, you will be the one who, when you finish school, the next minute you are looking for American visa to go, because your philosophy of you being here is weak, is general, is the one from the newspapers, is the one from the radio, is the one from the TV. You as a person has not sat down to have a clear philosophy, clear knowledge. You have not placed that much importance on you discovering why you were born here in Ghana. Why were you put here? Most people don't have that defined. And so they hear a little problem, they pack their things and they move because they don't have solid philosophy. Same with business, with entrepreneurship. If you want to build a business, your philosophy and how they are defined, and you cannot build those things without you placing much importance on knowledge. If you're trivial, if you're shallow-minded, if you're superficial, you will not be able to build solid conviction, solid philosophy. You will not. You will not be the one who would question a lot of things. And if you're not questioning a lot of things, you cannot build a business. Not the genuine ones anyway. Not the business that is properly set and which can grow. I'm not talking of the business that we a lot of people have, where they got a contract from the minister. Not that kind of business I'm talking of. I'm talking of a business that you are building to solve problems for society. That kind. Or any institution that you want to build yourself. Or any organization that you want to build yourself. If you've not been the person who places or who has placed a lot of importance on knowledge and how you are trying to get clear understanding of why situations are how they are and the states that they are. If you have not been there, if you've not been that kind of person, you will not place that much importance on knowledge. And so very few people place much importance on knowledge. And some of them will even tell us that the only important knowledge is the knowledge, especially the religious, those of us who go to church. We will not even pick any book to read. We will not even study anything beyond the Bible. And a lot of the young people who are coming up in our country now, very much shallow-minded. Very much shallow-minded. They are not reading any books. They are not studying anything at all. And if you're not studying and you are not reading, if you're not placing much importance on knowledge, you will not be able to come out with anything. They tell us that, when you pray and you go and you fellowship with God, God will give you ideas. Yes, God will give you ideas, but how are you able to interpret that idea will depend on the knowledge that is resident in you. And so if you're very myopic and limited, no matter which ideas that you get, you will not be able to bring it out. Because when they are talking, for instance, if you don't understand, say, medicine, and you hear anything in medicine, you will not be able to explain it well, because that content is not resident in you. You don't have it. And so there's level of exposure that you have in terms of knowledge will tell us the level of revelation that you can understand. Wherever you go, anything that you're able to identify, they come from the fact that you know something. So if you're limited, if you're small-minded, if you're shallow-minded, there is not much that you can extract out of the universe, out of the environment that you are in. So if you're a Christian and you think that God is talking to you, even what God is saying to you, you will not be able to make it relevant to the people, to the environment, to the country, until how much you know. And how much do you know? You will not know until you have studied it, until you have placed much importance on knowledge. And a lot of people don't place that much importance on knowledge at all. And we still think that our life will change. So they have weak philosophy. And they are always waiting for somebody else to tell them something. You cannot wait for somebody else to always tell you something. There has to be a time that you also see that my life will not improve until I know something. And if I'm going to be prominent in this life, if I'm going to do anything with my life, I must give prominence to knowledge. And the quality of knowledge that I have will reflect the quality of my life. The quality of knowledge that I have will reflect the quality of things that I produce, the quality of things that I'm able to build. My choices are a reflection of the knowledge that I have. And those will be dependent on the importance that I've given to knowledge and its application, its acquisition. And so this philosophical interpretation of all the issues around us, they're very much important. But when you want to translate that philosophical knowledge into that which produces results, it's not every knowledge that they explain them to us that would really produce results. I think that I think that when it comes to, say, finance, when it comes to, say, building an organization, building a country, building a business, it will go beyond the philosophical interpretation of things. If you want money, you must as well study the practical approach as to how money is acquired, how money is created, how money is multiplied. Not everybody can teach you that, because some people have only studied that subject just at the philosophy level, but they don't know how to apply it. How to apply it, you have to learn it from those who have done it, and probably done it in your environment. Because when I'm here and I want to learn how to build a business, I cannot be here learning how to build a business from the guy who has built a business in America. No, he's acquired that practical information in America. So even if I listen to him for general information. And that is why sometimes some people can feed on knowledge, read every book, and they still cannot do much. Why? Because the knowledge, the content that they are getting does not apply to them and does not apply to the environment that they operate. And so you see it where some of them will go to Yale, Harvard, and they come here, they are experts, but they cannot turn the economy around. Why? Because of the information that they gave them. But the practical one that works here should be from somebody who has done it here. And those are the people that you learn from. Those are the people who can ask you critical questions. So if I build a construction company in Ghana, I'll be able to tell you the pitfalls. I'll be able to tell you the areas that you step that you will succeed, the areas that you step that you will not succeed, because I've done it here. If I go to Togo, I may not be able to succeed that quickly. Why? Because I've not done it there. So the practical knowledge should come from the people who have done it. That's why sometimes the teachers that we listen to, I think that most often than not, the teachers that we listen to are just at the philosophical level of knowledge. They just explain things to us, but they are not able to give us the practical approach where we have to apply. And that's why you can listen to some of these teachers in church, in motivational speakers and all those. They give you all the generic, but you become a bit frustrated because you don't know where to stop, where to step, because they themselves have not done that. They have not produced anything with what they know. And so if you want to create financial success, you get the practical one. It's not just the physical knowledge. And the best of practical knowledge is the one that you have found yourself. It's not the one that another person is telling you. It's the one that you have found when you are doing it. And that's why until the knowledge can get you do it, that knowledge with producing results directly, that knowledge was not important. If you cannot get results with that knowledge, you didn't need it. There's a knowledge that has to just explain things to you, and that's the height that knowledge can go. So I'm able to explain maybe how a TV works. That's okay. I explain how a TV works to you, you understand it. You don't need direct results beyond that. Or I explain how that team beat that other team. That's okay. It doesn't have any consequence on the financial productivity or you building a business. But if I have to give you knowledge that has to bring you increase from 1 city to 2 cities, I should be the one who probably must have done something, must have created results. And so if you're going to waste your time listening to people, which they have to, especially it has to do with career, it has to do with business, it has to do with finance, it has to do with probably becoming successful in your relationships, in your marriage. Those things, I think that they should come from people who are doing it. It's not just people who are just giving you philosophical ideas. And a lot of them, if they have not done it, don't waste your time trying to listen to them, because you have not done it and it will not help you. And much of it, that's why most of us will find out that I've been listening to this guy for 20 years and there's no results. And you get frustrated because he was giving you the kind of knowledge that was just to explain some complexities in life, but not to get you results. But when it comes to results, progress, expansion, growth, business, finance, those things, get the results from those who are doing it, not just those who have read a book and talking about them, those who are doing it. And when you start to apply those things, you will start to accumulate your own knowledge that will help you to succeed in your field. And so the one that I found may not be the one that will help you to succeed. It may just help you to just go and build yourself from there, but you cannot depend on that to produce your own results. That which produces results are the ones, the revelations, the practical knowledge that you have acquired when you are doing it. And that will not come until you start to believe in yourself. Most people don't even believe in themselves because they have not been told that they're worth anything. So they live in perpetual uncertainty of their own abilities, of their own personality, of their own achievement. As a human being, you own the right to be confident in your own self and to be confident in your abilities, and know that you also have the same capacity to make choices that will help you to succeed. If you have to look to another person every day before you can make any decision, you don't believe in yourself. And it means that you have not placed a lot of importance on knowledge. The knowledge that should get you results, the knowledge that should make you to succeed. And we come from this kind of culture where we have not placed that much on knowledge and its importance. And so a lot of us want our life to change, but we hardly link them to knowledge. We hardly link them to knowledge. We link them to every other thing, but not knowledge. And the obvious ones are, we look up to God. The average African will look up to God. Or they will say that let's pray and fast. And the other ones will say it is in the hands of God. All those, may as nice as they seem, they are built on ignorance actually. Because if you want to succeed, if you get to know it, you will apply it and you succeed. You can build all the argument around it, but your life, my life, they only reflect what I know. Your life reflects what you know. Your choices are direct reflections of the things that you know, the things that you've been exposed to. If you're 20 years, if you're 30 years, everything that happens, whether it's your finances, whether it's your career, everything that is going on around you, everything that is going on around me, they just reflect the things that I know. And so if I want to change it for the next 2, 3, 4 years, then I would have to place importance of the knowing, of the knowledge, of the discoveries that I have to have. If I live in perpetual confusion and sadness and pain and depression, it means that the things that I know are responsible for that. It means my philosophy is weak in terms of life. It means my understanding of life is weak. If I live in perpetual shortage of money and poverty, they just show that my understanding of what it means to have excess of money is weak. It's just like that. But most of us will never link those things to ourselves. We will link it to another thing. We will link it to a demon. We will link it to God. We will link it to destiny. We will link it to everything. But we will never link it to us and that which we don't know, which is responsible for our results. So don't expect that much from people until they know. If people don't know, they can do it. If I don't know it, I can do it. If somebody else does not bring my attention to it, if I don't try to find it in a book, if I don't hear it somewhere, I cannot do it. It's as simple as that. And most of us, the only knowledge, if you sit down and you look well and you look at it critically, our understanding of life, our understanding of ourselves, our understanding of finance, our understanding of the world, our understanding of everything that moves around us, our understanding of God, they are coming from where? They are coming from the family and what they taught us. They're coming from the church that you went to. They're coming from the general culture. Those are the things that have taught us something. The media. Now, we ourselves, as we grow, have we asked questions to say that, wait a minute, maybe what they told me about finance is wrong. Because if I look at the results now, it's not good. Maybe what they told me about my abilities is wrong. Because if I look at my results now, it's not good. Maybe what they told us about our country is a lie. Do you ask yourself these questions? Or you just drink your beer and sleep and say that man came to do, but not all? Because our philosophy is weak. Because we have not placed that much importance on knowledge. And so if you want to change going forward, the next 2, 3, 4 years of your life, if I want to change that, then I must place a lot of importance on knowledge. And where I get that knowledge, whoever is teaching me that knowledge, is that much important. Because a lot of trash have been put on us. And I say trash because if I look at our results, it means that the knowing, the one that they have told us is trash. A lot of it is trash. The one they have told us about money, the one that they have told us about ourselves, the lies that there's a lot that they have told us. Not everything that we can discuss, but there's a lot that they have told us that have been wrong. And that's why we continue to live in this kind of environment and this kind of country. Because there are a lot of errors that they told us. So for instance, they told you that if you go to school and you study well and you finish, you get a very nice job and you become rich. Yeah, that's a lie. That's a lie. They told us that if you cry to God, He will help us to change our situation. And you have cried to God and He's not changed it. And you start to question those things. They told you that if you move to America, your life will be fine, and you went there and you said that no, 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 no. It's a lie. The strength of life is in self-discovery. The quality of your philosophy. What you have found your life to be. What you can do. What you think you've been gifted to contribute to this life. Your finances will not change until you have the proper understanding of finance. My life is not going to change. Even the business that you build, the entrepreneurship journey, it is going to be tough so long as your knowledge is weak. So long as your knowledge, your understanding of it is weak, it will be tough. The moment you start to get the right kind of knowledge, you start to study it, you change your philosophy, you improve your thinking of it, your life will see that the entrepreneurship journey, even though they say it's tough, you start to look at it in a whole different way because you have changed the way you look at it. And so human beings just reflect what we know. So if life is sweet, it's because what you know is sweet. If life is tough, it's because what you know is tough. It doesn't work. If life is a mystery to you, it's because what you know is mystery. If you're sad all your life, it's because what you know is sadness. It does not mean that's how the world is. No. It only means that is what knowledge you have. And it is likely that you have not placed that much importance on knowledge that produces results. Knowledge that will make you happy, knowledge that will make you jubilant and vibrant to face life. You have not placed that much importance on it, so you have not gone for that. You have not studied it. You have not dived, into it. And so your life is just superficial. You just live the normal life, and if anything small happens, you are crying, you are weeping, you are cursing yourself because your philosophy is not that strong. You have not placed that much importance to say that no, I have to go deep and find out what life is about. You have not done that. And so you are waiting for some teacher somewhere who is also not studying anything, teaching you every day. Listening to him, you become sad. And you are not pushing yourself to go and discover yourself. All of us must go and discover for ourselves what our life is and what our environment is, what our country is. So my name is Kwabena. I try to talk about the importance of knowledge, and my statement is that you can only do as much as you know. I can only do as much as I know. So the importance that I place on knowledge is what is going to be responsible for my life. This world operates on knowledge. This world, it just reflects on knowledge. Those who know more will conquer those who don't know. Now, they told us that is not true. They told us that anything at all can happen to us, and then God is in charge, and some demon somewhere can just kill you anytime. That is what they told us. That what you know is responsible for what is happening. And so if you look at the physical world, you look at our country, they just reflect what we know. So if you're doing well, it's because we know better. That's why we are doing well. If you're struggling, it's because the knowledge that we have is not good enough. It's not good enough. So which means that we can always place importance on it. So if any area of our lives that we need improvement, we just have to go and try to dig and find out what it is. Because human beings, yes, I picked this shirt today to wear based on my understanding, based on my knowledge. It's a choice, and choices reflect the knowledge that we have. So whatever that I do, they just reflect that. I think if you pick it that way, then we will not blame anybody for our lives. In that case, we can always improve our situation if we improve our knowledge level. And so if they keep on telling us that, oh, the finances will not change. The finances will not change because you are not changing your financial knowledge. The career will not improve because you're not improving your knowledge. The marriage will not improve because you're not improving. You're not studying it. You're not learning it. That's why it's struggling. The country will not develop until the people start to place premium importance on knowledge. It's as simple as that. So we just reflection of what we know. So we can only have the, they keep the slave as he is a slave. They keep the slave in the slave field or in slavery so long as he doesn't know. The moment the slave starts to know, you fight back. You fight back. And those who fought for their independence, for their freedom, there was a light. And that light did not come until they saw the importance of going for knowledge. So they can only keep us in that status as long as we don't place importance on knowledge. Anything at all that keeps us in trouble, in pain, in difficulty, is because that thing is we have not given attention in terms of knowledge to it. And so, until some things are clearly expanded and explained and broken down to us, we will not be able to apply them rightly for our benefit. Some kind of knowledge are just for the physical benefits and results, and they clearly show how things work. So, the knowledge for the importance, the importance of money is different from the knowledge for how to make money. So somebody can explain how important money is to us and talk all the nonsense about it, but does not mean that that person has given us the knowledge to make it. So there is a certain explanation as to how this is, and there's another explanation how to get results in that. So talking about entrepreneurship from books is different from getting the right facts as how business is built on the field. And the world is full of people who talk philosophically about knowledge, but not the one that get us results. Some of the philosophical knowledge that we need are knowledge about ourselves, the race, the country, the world, our gifts, our convictions, our self-esteem. And the knowledge that comes from practice is the one that changes the results that we want to see. So if you want to see results in your finances, it will come from practical financial knowledge. If you want to see results in your business, they will come from that. If you want to see results in the improvement of a family, they will come from practical approach, changing things rightly. So the kind of knowledge that comes from those who have done it is different from those who just explain complex things to us. So they are separate. So you should know who is teaching you and who you are learning from, which books you are reading, and what kind of application that you can make out of those knowledge that they give you. And so thank you very much for watching. My name is Kwabena. Thank you.